Anxiety. I never thought in my life that this will be a problem for me. However, this happened. I was always very satisfied and I got excited in the moment of feat when I knew that I have to do something important. I didn't take my life too seriously and I never was a typical guy who is stressing out because I need to do something. In the recent years, a lot of things happened with me and it has changed things drastically. I have experienced more panic attack and illness anxiety disorder, and in the last 2 years I have visited many different doctors to figure out what is happening with me. Fortunately, all my results were perfect, and in the end one of my doctors highlighted that all of the symptoms that I have experienced might be caused the way I react to my stress. I came to the realization that anxiety is something serious and it must be treated with conscience, otherwise all the symptoms can be even worse. Before I share with you the 4 ways how to deal with anxiety, I think it's worth to spend a couple of minutes on what is anxiety itself. Anxiety is our body's natural response to stress. It's working like a fight or flight feeling. That means that our body set itself for the challenges and in the end it will help us to set into an alert mode. The mentioned type of stress can be caused nearly by everything and it is highly dependent on the person. Some people may experience anxiety before their first job interview. In case of teenagers, it can be triggered by a simple exam. Basically, anxiety can be helpful in the mentioned situations. However, most of the time we don't understand how we can utilize this kind of feeling and in the end we simply don't understand even ourselves why we react the way we do. On the other hand, anxiety can be more problematic when it lasts longer and affects our everyday mood. The mentioned fight and flight response can be effective in certain situations, however, it might not be healthy when it can be triggered by even the smallest changes. Anxiety disorders can be categorized depending on the reason behind them. Some people experience panic disorder, which means that they are living the fear of their next panic attack, which can occur in unexpected times. Other people might have social anxiety disorder, which means that they are afraid to be among people and they are also afraid to be judged by others. As you can see, anxiety might be complex and it's hard to recognize even when you start to experience different symptoms and you start to think about that all of these can happen because of some health concerns. The symptoms of anxiety might include feeling dizzy or faint, shortness of breath, dry mouth and sweating, chill or hot flashes, restlessness and distress, and lastly, fear, numbness and tingling. The symptoms might vary from person by person and some of the people might only experience like shortness of breath, others might experience a mixture all of the mentioned. Now we have discussed the term of anxiety itself and also I have mentioned to you a couple of symptoms you might experience. Let's talk about the way how to deal with anxiety. For this, I would like to present you right now 4 different tips which can help you to deal anxiety effectively. Tip 1. Identify and manage trigger points. If you would like to understand how to deal with anxiety, it might be an effective start if you try to reveal and understand what are your trigger points behind this feeling. This whole process can be done by yourself or you can work with a professional therapist. In some cases, anxiety is obviously resulted, which means that you might consume too much caffeine or you drink alcohol or smoke. Luckily, in these cases you have a chance to avoid these kind of substances, which means that you can manage your stress and anxiety effectively. In other cases, it might be more difficult to find the trigger points and adjust the way you cope with them. Long-term problems such as financial or work-related issues may take some time to figure out. Maybe all of them is caused by a certain person, situation or place. Who knows? In these cases, it's worth to ask for a professional help or one of your family member or friends. In the second case, it will require drastic changes if you would like to avoid your own trigger points, like you need to change your workplace or somehow you need to get more money to avoid your current financial situation, or even worse, you are not able to change the situation and your environment itself. Which means that you need to develop a strategy which can help you to cope with stress and anxiety. Personally, I was able to find my own trigger points and I tend to fall into the second category. Which means there are no exact substances what causing the way I feel, but rather the situations I live in. To be honest, I shouldn't be surprised because I am living as an entrepreneur, which means that sometimes I need to cope with different stressful situations, and I also came to the realization that I need to avoid multitasking because I can feel myself easily stressful and angry. In my case, I had two different choices. First, I give up on my current entrepreneur lifestyle and maybe I try to find a typical 9 to 5 job where I won't be too stressful, or I develop a strategy and change my behavior how I react to the stressful situations. In the end, there were no doubts for me that I don't want to give up on my current lifestyle, but rather I need to find and develop a solid strategy how to deal with my own anxiety. Tip 2. Train your brain. It will take a lot of practice from your side, but you can successfully manage your own anxiety if you start to pay attention to your own self-development. Personally, this is what I chose and I was amazed how effective can be these opportunities. I don't say that I don't have worse days or I totally become brainwashed by these activities, however, I realized that my overall mood and consciousness was improved. Here is a short list what I have implemented into my life when I have realized what are my own trigger points regarding my anxiety. Meditation. 10 to 15 minutes of daily mindful meditation can help you to train your brain and eliminate anxious thoughts during your day. For this, I especially like to start my day with meditation as it can help me to fill myself with positive vibes and it can also help me to prepare myself for the daily difficulties. Anyway, if you just got interested in the meditation, feel free to check out my video on the screen because I have collected a couple of handful tips which might be great if you are a beginner. Journaling. In parallel with meditation, I also like to write down my own thoughts in the morning. I found out that this habit can be super effective after meditation as it can strengthen the way I thought during my session. It's like I enhance my consciousness not only in my mind, but I also write it down, which means that I would like to achieve them truly. For sure, you need to practice and set up a couple of rules which will be needed if you would like to write a journal successfully, so feel free to click on the screen once again, because I made a journaling guide not long ago. Reading. Reading is undoubtedly one of the best ways if you would like to spend your free time, but it can also help you to find a perfect way to cope and deal with your own stress and anxiety. I especially love to read about emotional intelligence as it can help me to understand and recognize my own feelings and get aligned with them. Furthermore, I highly recommend you to check out Ryan Holiday's book regarding Stoicism as it can present you an astonishing mentality which can be super effective in nowadays society. To wrap up this tip, don't hesitate to spend at least 30 minutes every single day to train your brain and increase your consciousness. You can master one of the mentioned activities or you can mix them together and find the most effective way how to deal with your own anxiety. Tip 3. Develop a sleeping schedule. Researchers already found out that there is a strong connection between sleeping and anxiety. In fact, sleeping and anxiety has a bidirectional relationship, which means that anxiety can cause you difficulties to fall asleep. On the other hand, if you are not sleeping enough, you might experience the symptoms of anxiety. In the end, you might experience the side effects of lack of sleep and anxiety, and you can find yourself easily in a vicious cycle where you can break out. If you would like to understand how to deal with anxiety, you can already start to improve your current sleeping habit. For this reason, here are a couple of tips which can help you to improve your overall sleeping quality. Get a sleep schedule. This tip itself can help you to improve your overall sleeping quality drastically. Personally, back in the days when I have played video games all night long, I went to sleep whenever I felt myself tired and woke up next day whenever I could. Certainly, I was always tired, and right now I can understand why. You can't expect from your body to follow a sleeping scheme like this. Sometimes you wake up earlier because you have to do something in the morning, other days you try to sleep as long as you can, and it is not beneficial and not healthy at all. This is the biggest mistake that you can make. If you would like to maximize the quality of your sleeping, you must develop a sleeping pattern which you stick to. No matter what day is, weekend or work days, you need to go to sleep every single day at the same time, and you need to wake up at the same time. Usually I wake up around 5:15 a.m. and I like to go to sleep at 9 p.m. and to be honest, it works perfectly for me, and I can instantly notice the signs of tiredness when I don't follow and I break my own sleeping schedule because of some unexpected event. Shortly, figure out what is the most suitable sleeping pattern for you and stick to it. I know it might be difficult in the beginning, but after a couple of weeks you get used to it. Limit your caffeine intake. Nowadays, most of us like to consume some kind of caffeine beverage in the morning, for example a coffee or an energy drink, and I also fall into this category. It's totally okay to start your day with a cup of coffee and maybe consume another one after your lunch, but try to avoid these kind of substances 6 hours before you go to sleep. This will help you to not disturb your sleeping quality at night. Very simple tip, easy to apply, and it can affect your overall mood as well. Limit screen time. Smartphones, tablets, TVs and computers. All of these devices' screen keep your mind awake, so try to avoid them at least 1 hour before you go to sleep. Moreover, it can become more dangerous, especially when you try to check out your company mails or some important mails before you go to sleep, because you might feel yourself anxious already because you know what will happen in the morning. Shortly, you can't expect to have a satisfying sleep if you don't let your mind switch off. Instead of watching the mentioned devices, read a book, listen relaxing music, or you can have a talk with your partner in the bed. All of the mentioned activities will help you to turn off your mind. Pay attention to your room. Light, sound, and temperature, all of these factors can highly affect your sleeping quality, so it's worth to pay attention to them. The darker, quieter, and cooler room tend to have a higher chance to fall asleep easier, so it's definitely something which worth a try. Exercise. Exercise can both lower anxiety and also improve your sleeping quality. If you take my advice, don't exercise in the evening hours because it can keep you awake, and this is not your goal at all. On the other hand, moving your body in the morning hours can be super beneficial for you. First, it can set you into the right mood and prepare yourself for the day. On the other hand, it can also boost up your hormones. From my perspective, I have also noticed on myself that anytime when I have exercised in the morning hours, I was also calmer during my day, even though that I am a person who can get angry very easily. In parallel with exercising, you can also start to pay attention to your diet and your meal plan, and this will be the last tip how to deal with your anxiety. Tip 4. Improve your diet and get some supplements. Coping with anxiety can be a challenge, and sometimes it will require more drastic changes, especially regarding your diet. No doubt that the way you feel yourself is highly dependent on what you eat during your day. Fueling your body with low quality nutrition might lead to fatigue, mood swings, and other health concerns like digestive problems, headaches, and so on. Anti-anxiety diets already exist, and even if you don't want to change your current meal plan fully, some of the advices might worth to implement into your meal plan. The following tips and tricks include: always eat breakfast that includes some protein because it will help you to feel yourself fuller and you have more energy during your day. None of the least, it will help you to keep your blood sugar on a steady level. Drink plenty of water. Even mild dehydration can affect your mood drastically. People keep telling me that they have headaches, and most of the time it can be solved very easily. they just need to drink more. I keep myself hydrated during the whole day, and to be honest, I have experienced maybe 5 or 4 times headaches in the recent years. In the end, it's important to highlight that you can keep yourself hydrated with only natural beverages. Furthermore, foods which are rich in zinc have been linked to lowered anxiety. Feel free to eat foods like oyster, liver, beef, and cashews. Following the list, anxiety is also thought to be correlated with lower total antioxidant level. Therefore, it is reasonable to enhance your current meal plan with foods which are rich in antioxidants. Don't hesitate to add foods to your diet like beans, apples, plums, cherries, spinach, broccoli, or different type of berries. And none of the least, drink natural herbal teas during your day like chamomile, green tea, or lemongrass. Lastly, don't hesitate to consume some supplements if you are sure that you can get the necessary minerals from your meal plan. Usually I like to add vitamin C, D, fish oil, and some kind of multivitamin to my meal plan, as I am quite sure that I don't consume enough foods which can cover my mineral requirements. So these were all the 4 tips which can help you to deal with anxiety, and by the end of this video I also need to add that dealing with anxiety can be difficult, and we need to understand that we can't exclude it from our life. And we also can't let it to take over our days. Most of the time it is easier to change the way we cope with anxiety, and it is also reasonable to try to change different aspects in our life and decide which parts can be improved. I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, please don't forget to leave a comment, subscribe, and thanks for watching.